EnglightenPro. Learn faster. Speak like a pro.
Hello, amazing challengers, and welcome to day 14 of your 15-day English Fluency Challenge. You're just one step away from completing this incredible journey. Today, we're unlocking an essential skill: how to confidently describe your past experiences and tell stories in English. Sharing anecdotes is a huge part of everyday conversation, and mastering these phrases will make you a much more engaging speaker. Remember our super powerful 3-step technique? First, you'll listen to a new story to feel the English. Then, we'll break down essential phrases from that story. And finally, you'll practice with our story comprehension game to build instant fluency. Ready to become a fantastic storyteller in English? Let's begin.
Listen closely as I share a personal story about a memorable job interview. Pay attention to the phrases I use. These are our 7 new common phrases for describing past events. You know, a few days ago, I had a really important job interview for a marketing position. It was for my dream company. It all started when I received the email inviting me for the interview. I was incredibly excited, but also very nervous. One time, I totally froze during an interview and couldn't say anything. So I practiced my answers for hours to avoid that. I researched the company, prepared questions to ask, and picked out my best outfit. After that, I arrived at their modern office building, took a deep breath, and waited for my turn, feeling a mix of hope and anxiety. The interview was going smoothly, I thought, as I confidently answered all the typical questions. Suddenly, the interviewer looked at me with a mischievous smile and asked a question I absolutely had not prepared for. If you were a type of fruit, what would you be and why? My mind went completely blank. I'll never forget when I just stared at him for what felt like an eternity, trying desperately to think of any fruit that represented marketing or my skills. In the end, after an awkward pause, I just laughed and said, "A lemon," because I can add a fresh and unexpected twist to any campaign. To my surprise, he laughed even harder, and a week later, I actually got the job. It was a good reminder that sometimes being authentic and a little bit quirky can be a good thing.
All right, challengers, that was my story. Now for our second step. Let's break down today's 7 powerful phrases for storytelling. Remember, we focus on groups of words for natural, confident speaking. Our first phrase is, "A few days ago, I." This is a simple and common way to start talking about a recent past event. For example, "A few days ago, I met a new friend." In the story, I said, "A few days ago, I had a really important job interview." Next, we have, "It all started when." Use this to introduce the beginning of an anecdote or a specific past experience. For instance, "It all started when I decided to take a cooking class." In my story, I said, "It all started when I received the email inviting me for the interview." Then there's "one time I." This phrase is perfect for introducing a specific past experience or a single instance of something happening. For example, "One time I saw a celebrity at the airport." In the story, I used it when I said, "One time I totally froze during an interview and couldn't say anything." Our fourth phrase is, "After that, I." This is crucial for showing the sequence of events in your story, moving from one point to the next. You might say, "After that, I went home and studied." In Emily's story, I mentioned, after that, I arrived at their modern office building. Then we have suddenly. This powerful word introduces an unexpected event or a change in the story. For example, suddenly the lights went out. In the story, I used it when I said, suddenly the interviewer looked at me and asked a question I had not prepared for. Next, we have I'll never forget when. This phrase highlights a memorable experience, good or bad, that made a strong impression on you. For example, I'll never forget when I graduated from college. In the story, I said, I'll never forget when I just stared at him for what felt like an eternity. And finally, in the end. This phrase helps you conclude your story or describe the final outcome of the events you're narrating. For instance, in the end, we decided to cancel the trip. In my story, I finished with, in the end, after an awkward pause, I just laughed and said, I actually got the job.
Fantastic work understanding all those phrases. Now, let's move on to our third powerful step. Practice and expand. We'll do our story comprehension questions and answers. As a crucial piece of advice for you amazing learners, before you start this part, you have to listen to the story again and again so you can feel the fluency. Try to listen to it 10 times. Believe me, this technique is super powerful. All right, remember, pause after each question, answer aloud, and always try to give a full answer. It's crucial for training your mind muscles. Ready? Let's go. Questions about Emily's story and the phrases. What kind of important experience did Emily have a few days ago? Pause. Possible answer. Emily had an important job interview a few days ago. What kind of position was the job interview for? Pause. Possible answer. It was for a marketing position. What kind of company was it for Emily? Pause. Possible answer. It was for her dream company. How did it all start for Emily with this job opportunity? Pause. Possible answer. It all started when she received the email inviting her for the interview. How did Emily feel when she received the interview invitation? Pause. Possible answer. She felt incredibly excited, but also very nervous. What happened to Emily one time during a previous interview? Pause. Possible answer. One time, she totally froze and couldn't say anything during an interview. How did Emily prepare for this interview to avoid freezing again? Pause. Possible answer. She practiced her answers for hours, researched the company, prepared questions to ask, and picked out her best outfit. What did Emily do after arriving at the office building? Pause. Possible answer. After that, she took a deep breath and waited for her turn, feeling a mix of hope and anxiety. How was the interview going before the unexpected question? Pause. It was going smoothly. She was answering questions confidently. What unexpected thing happened suddenly during the interview? Suddenly, the interviewer asked a question she had not prepared for. How did the interviewer look at her when he asked the surprising question? He looked at her with a mischievous smile. What was the surprising question the interviewer asked? The interviewer asked, "If you were a type of fruit, what would you be and why?" What will Emily never forget about that moment? She'll never forget when she just stared at him for what felt like an eternity. What was Emily trying to think of when her mind went completely blank? She was trying desperately to think of any fruit that represented marketing or her skills. What did Emily say she would be, and why? She said she would be a lemon because she can add a fresh and unexpected twist to any campaign. What was the interviewer's reaction to Emily's answer? To her surprise, he laughed even harder. How long after the interview did Emily get the job? She got the job a week later. What was the good reminder Emily got from this experience? It was a good reminder that sometimes being authentic and a little bit quirky can be a good thing. Now, let's quickly review some important key vocabulary from today's lesson. These words will help you express yourself even more clearly. Nerve-wracking, full meaning, something that makes you feel very worried, stressed, or scared. It's an experience that causes a lot of tension and makes you anxious. Example: giving a presentation can be a nerve-wracking experience. Dream company, noun phrase. Full meaning, the perfect or ideal company where someone really wants to work. It's like your ultimate goal for a workplace. Example: working for Google is my dream company. Froze, full meaning, to suddenly stop moving or thinking completely because you are very surprised, scared, or confused. It's like your body or mind just locks up for a moment. Example: when she saw the spider, she froze. Mischievous, full meaning, someone who is playfully naughty or enjoys doing small, harmless tricks to surprise or tease others. They like to cause a little bit of fun trouble. Example: he had a mischievous glint in his eye. Unprepared, full meaning, not ready for something. You haven't studied or practiced, or you don't have the necessary things or knowledge. Example: I felt completely unprepared for the exam. Eternity, full meaning, a period of time that feels extremely, unbelievably long, like it will never end, even if it's only a few minutes. It's an exaggeration for a very long wait or duration. Example: waiting for the results felt like an eternity. Awkwardly, full meaning, to do something in a clumsy, uncomfortable, or embarrassing way. It doesn't feel smooth, natural, or confident. Example: he laughed awkwardly after his mistake. Authentic, full meaning, being real and true to yourself, not fake, pretending, or trying to be someone else. You are genuinely
who you are. Example, try to be authentic in your conversations. Quirky, full meaning, having a slightly strange, unusual, or unique personality, style, or behavior that is often charming or interesting rather than negative. It means being a bit different in a pleasant way. Example, her quirky sense of humor made everyone laugh. You've done an incredible job today, challengers. Now for your daily challenge. Your mission today is to truly master this lesson. Listen to Emily's story 5 to 10 times and then practice answering all the Q&A questions provided in the PDF file. You'll find the download link for the PDF in the description below. This is essential for building those instant English responses. Also, try to tell your own story about a past experience using today's phrases. If you found this episode helpful and motivating, don't forget to like, subscribe to EnglightenPro, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single day of our challenge. This is EnglightenPro, your daily English boost. You've got this. I believe in you. I'll see you in episode 15, our final episode, where we'll discuss how to review and continue your English fluency journey beyond this challenge. Keep thinking in English. Keep growing. And always remember, every story you tell makes you more fluent.